All right, so for our Introduction to Tourism and Hospitality course, one goal of the course is to expose students to the wide range of careers within tourism and hospitality. Travel advising is often overlooked or misunderstood, but it remains a highly relationship-driven, entrepreneurial, and professional segment of the industry with opportunities for specialization, flexibility, and long-term career growth. So, with that in mind, we are so lucky today to have two of the best in the industry to talk about their experience within the travel agent world, what that looks like, their best advice, what careers are going to really look like in this field, and what the growth and opportunity looks like. So I'm going to start with asking both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us about your current role within the travel industry.
Pam, you should start. You are the one that we all look to. You are our guiding force here in travel. So I would love for you to start.
Well, that's really sweet. My name is Pam Keller, and about 34 years ago, I started a company called Travel Stars. And I have been creating travel for lots of different phases, actually, of the industry for many, many years. Still working, believe it or not, and I still enjoy what I do. Um, I do travel for corporate, I do entertainment travel, and I also do a considerable amount of leisure travel. So those are the three phases of travel that I do. And all of them are quite rewarding and interesting. And I'd love to share with you some ideas and thoughts that I might have learned over these 33 years, 34 years, however long it's been. Way too long.
Great. And my name is Shannon, and I own Rising Star Travel in Nashville. We primarily focus on country music tours that are traveling. We do book for some other bands that are not necessarily country music, but that is really our focus is the touring industry. Um, I have been in Nashville now for 20 years, but I've been booking travel for 30 years. An agency that focuses on the personal relationships with our clients. We are a boutique agency. I'm not trying to be the very biggest agency out there, but I want to be the best at what we do. That's always my goal. And Pam is one of the leaders in this industry. She is extraordinary, and I've always looked up to her. And I think that by having her here on our panel today, you will get a wealth of knowledge and wisdom from her, and hopefully I can add a couple of things too that might be helpful for everybody.
Yes, I
Thank
think
you,
for
Shannon. You're so sweet, but you teach me all the time. So we're mutual, have mutual respect for each other.
Yes, I would concur that
Thank you.
we're very lucky to have both of you here, and I appreciate both of your time. And so let's look a little bit at just kind of what drew you in before we really dive into the actual job itself. So, what drew you in to be a travel agent and have this career in this? And then is this a path you always knew you wanted to do, or is it something you discovered along the way? Let's start with Shannon this time.
Sure. It wasn't a path that I was always on. I actually, my degree is in psychology, and I was focused on child psychology. I realized soon after graduation that if I continued on in that industry, that there was a great potential for me to get burned out. And if I ever wanted to have children of my own, that might be something to consider going to work all day with children and then to come home with children. I didn't know if I was going to have enough bandwidth to then give to my children. And so I I looked at some alternatives, and travel was something that came out of nowhere, but it seemed very interesting, intriguing. I hadn't traveled at that time, and I wanted to do something that would be flexible and lucrative and something that I could do for the long term. And there aren't a lot of positions out there that allow for the flexibility that certainly this industry allows. We can work from wherever we are. And as I started in corporate travel, my first travel agency was in corporate travel, and I really enjoyed that. But it was very, I think corporate travel is very black and white. It's very by the book, and we're definitely going to like the Chicago and the New York and the hotel and back, and it's it's its own genre. Corporate travel is. And when I moved to Nashville 20 years ago, I found that entertainment travel was something that I had no experience in. I didn't even know that it was a thing, to be really honest with you. I didn't know that that was even something you could go into, is the entertainment travel. And at the time, there were not a lot of travel agencies that focused on this. There were maybe three bigger ones in Nashville that you would know of, but we didn't have a lot of the big box travel agencies that are out there now. And so I would say that we had the travel agencies, but we had so many more clients than what we could, staff for, I think. And so when I came in and started Rising Star Travel, it didn't take very long to take off and bring in a lot of clients because there were just so many people out there that needed this travel. Look at all of the bands that are out there traveling, and that's just in our little country music family. And once you expand out beyond that, so many more. And so that's where I got started, and that's where my love for this specific niche grew. I like this because I am very in touch with my clients and very connected with them. And it's very rewarding when you are able to help people out of these situations that they find themselves in. I like the longevity of it. It's not something that you can only do until you're 30 years old. You can only do it till you're 40. I tell everybody, you can do this till your rocking chair years. And to be able to work from anywhere, it's a huge blessing. And there are so many opportunities for growth and development here. Just find the place that fits you, fits your lifestyle. I always tell people, find the thing that lights your fire, and you'll never work a day in your life. And this is what lights my fire every day.
I love that. I find that tourism and hospitality tends to find people from all sorts of different walks of life. So, Pam, what about you? What kind of drew you in? Is this something that you knew you always wanted to do?
Well, mine goes back a long time. I was a dental hygienist and I taught dental practice management seminars across the country. So that's where I got into traveling, more of a corporate traveler myself, traveling every weekend to teach seminars all over the country. And I was really not well suited for dental hygiene. That was just not creative enough for me. So I did it for 20 years to pay my parents back for the education that they paid for. And I felt like I did my due diligence. And one of my patients was excuse the use of your name, Shannon, but she was a rising star. And she said, what are you going to do if you don't do dental hygiene anymore? And I said, I'm going to open a travel agency. And she said, well, I want to be your first customer. And from that is how I got into entertainment travel. I always kind of thought I'd do more leisure travel, but I just kind of fell into it and have been doing it, for all these many years. Now, later, these stars have risen and now they're trying to reinvent themselves, but they do have more free time to travel personally. So I've become more of a leisure agent, which is what I originally thought I would do. But it's a wonderful profession. It works extremely well for me, has for all these many years, and I've had many employees that have also benefited from my decision to go into travel. And I think it was a good place for me, and I'm still doing it. I'm not quite in the rocking chair yet, but not far from it.
Well, on that note, then, what does a typical day look like for you? And so we'll start with you, Pam.
Well, I never know what a typical day looks like for me. When I get up, the first thing I do is go to my computer and read my emails. That dictates my day. I have certain things that I have to handle for people if they're in a delayed flight. They need to book something. They have hotels they need to book. Who knows what my day is going to be like? I may have a light day, I may have a crazy day, but I just take it one email at a time. But my goal always, always is by the end of the day, I have answered every email that I've received, either by completion or by letting them know I'm on this, and started the process of completing the task that they've asked me to do.
What about you, Shannon? What does a typical day look like for you?
Actually, it's it's exactly the same, honestly. I get up and the first thing I do is I check my email, and my email will also dictate which day, how the day is going to go. And it can be nonstop to the point where I can't even, I forget to eat lunch. And then the day is over. And it's kind of nice when you're like, oh wow, I look at how much I accomplished in that day. And then there are the leisurely days, and you can take a little bit more time to do this and that. And where we work, we have a garden out here, and so I encourage all my employees to go out and garden in the slow time and make sure you balance your work life and your personal life. It can't just be work, 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 work all the time. You're going to burn yourself right out really fast. But we also have a response time of 15 minutes. I ask that all of my agents respond to an email within 15 minutes. You don't have to have it done, but I do need you to respond to the client and let them know that it's been received, that they've been heard, and we're going to work on that. This isn't the job where you clock in at 8 and clock out at 5, not in this industry, because at 5 o'clock you might not have the things answered, and you've got to let the clients know that their information has been received and you're going to work on it. Some of the things, if you got to get bus parking in Montreal for 8 buses, that's going to take a little minute, but you need to let them know that you're working on it. And so a typical day, it just can be anything. And I think that's part of the draw, is that we don't have that every single day at 10 o'clock, we're going to do this. We just ride the wave wherever it takes us. And it's exciting and different every day. And all of the things that we encounter, all of the challenges, they help us to be better, because these things that come up as problems or issues, they're going to come up again. And as soon as you find a resolution for it the first time, you're able to then go back to that the next time it comes up, because it will come up another time. There will be another delayed flight. There will be another misconnection. There will be another, all of the things. And you just build upon that. And that's how this industry is great for somebody who doesn't need to follow the book A to Z, because we don't necessarily have a book, or if we have a book, we're continuously building it. I know that Pam would say the same thing. Every single day, we can still, after all these years, we can still hear some new crazy things that we've got to figure out a way to resolve. And that's exciting to me. If you are a problem solver, if you want to get into the chaos and organize it, this is it. This is it for you. But if you like to just be in a place where everything is organized and always put together and goes according to plan, this will not be the thing for you,
I love
in
that.
my opinion.
So, what are some of the misconceptions that people have about what a career as a travel agent looks like? So, let's start with you, Shannon.
Oh, I got to start on this one because I get this one all the time. People think that being a travel agent is just casual, and we are just sitting here and browsing the internet, looking for fabulous vacations, checking out all of the Four Seasons, the beds over here, the activities there, the spa there, that we are jet setting all the place, that it is glitz and glam and oh so easy and oh so fun all the time. You can book things at your pace. That is not it. That is not it at all. It is, we are busy, we are fast paced, it's a lot of people. We are moving hundreds of people. We are moving all of the people. How do you think the people get to the concerts? The band and the crew, the staff. We've got to figure out how to get them there. This is something that is time sensitive. I am not looking for all of the spas and all of the things. I am making sure that I am getting accommodations for my clients that are convenient to the venue. They're going to feel safe there. They're going to get a good night's sleep because I am putting those bus drivers in the rooms to sleep so that when they get up at 1 in the morning to take the crew to the next show, they are well rested because they have our prized possessions. They have our people, they have our families, they have our everybody, they are friends, neighbors, they are in the buses. I need those bus drivers to have a good night's sleep. That is important to me. All those little things that you don't think about, maybe, but we think about them all the time. So, common misconception is that this is just a casual thing and you can do it at your own pace. I mean, you can do it at your own pace. If your own pace is fast, then you can do it. Pam will probably be nicer about all this. So let's have Pam say it in a nicer way.
No, I think that in this day and age right now, and I see it on social media, that a lot of people are advertising that travel advisors join their companies and oh, they can travel, they can have such a good time, they can have fun, they can see these beautiful destinations. But if you're truly a travel advisor, you are so busy that you don't have time to go to all of these places. Now, I do make it a point because I consider it continuing education in the leisure side of travel to go to some of these places to find out if your clients are well suited to travel there. That's important, but that's not the main focus of my life is to be able to just do nothing but travel. And I think some of these new independent contractor style advisors are being fed inaccurate information about what the job entails. If they only want to travel, then the vendors are going to quit asking them to come visit because they won't see any business coming from them. I make it a point with my staff to tell them you can go on these fam trips. You can learn about these destinations only if it's somewhere that will benefit my company and all of us as agents, and if it's something that the clients will use, because it's not fair for a vendor who's putting together these trips for advisors to go just because they want to travel and they have no intention or the clientele to send to those destinations.
That's a
I
really
so
good.
agree with you, Pam, and I love your integrity. That is so important. The integrity that you have, I that's where you want to go is a place that is going to have integrity, like what Pam has just described. Don't take these fam trips to go to the Philippines if you're never ever going to send anyone there. I agree with you. It's not fair. You're taking advantage of the vendors. And if they want to give you something, it is so that you can return something to them. And I always say free is never free. If they're giving you something, a wonderful trip, it is for you to have the experience and be able to bring that to your clients. But if your clients are never going to go there, if that's not a thing for them, then that's something you should decline and say, you know what, that would be better served for a different agency.
That is very true. And that, in travel, I think the most important thing, and I think Shannon absolutely agrees with me on this, and I think it's people in the travel world know that your name means everything to you. If you don't have the integrity, as Shannon was saying, then you will not have clients who stay with you. Um, I have clients that have been with me for all of my 33, 34 years in the business. They're still my clients, are still very loyal to me because they know they can count on me. And that's extremely important. So if you want longevity in the industry, you just have to be a woman or a man of your word.
So speaking of, part of this is building relationships not only with your clients, but with these vendors in the different locations. Have you ever had the experience where you've gone on a fam trip just so we're clear, familiarization trip, often these vendors will invite travel agents or their teams to come out and experience so they can then sell the product down one. We call that a push down strategy, right? Where it starts at the travel agent and they push it down to their clients. Have you ever been on a trip or fam trip and you thought this really isn't a good deal for my clients? What has that communication looked like with the vendor?
I mentioned to you that I recently went on a trip that I didn't think that I would like and that I didn't know that my clients would like. I still have a situation where I don't think my clients would enjoy it, but I did tell the vendor that if I ever have an opportunity, I would send the clients through them. That's the only way I would send a client to this particular destination is with someone who could care for them. But without me going in that instance and learning about it, there would be no potential for me to ever sell that product. Where now I may get a client that does want to go there, that might be a good fit. But I always feel like it's best to be honest with your host to let them know, and then they can help address concerns and things that you might have, that your clients might have about that destination or that property or whatever. And but I'm usually always upfront with them and let them know the situation. That's
I agree
important.
with you wholeheartedly. Let them know in
Okay.
advance because they are going to come, they see the volume that you're producing and they're like, oh, we want some of that. And so they're going to come to you and say, oh, come to our fam. I'd love for you to bring your clients here. So I had an instance where I was invited on on a fam trip to Greece. And I love Greece. If I'm ever like missing, go check Greece or Italy. Like that's where I'm going to be. And I was very clear with the rep there, and I had said, I would love to go to Greece and see whatever you have, but we don't tour in Greece. And so I'm not going to be bringing a lot of business there. However, if anybody ever does want to go on an amazing vacation, for sure, I will use this vendor and I know that I can feel confident with them and they're taken care of. So I'm happy to accept the invitation, but just know that this isn't going to come with a $50,000 package just on your doorstep in the next couple of months. And he's like, yeah, I just want to be on the list in case it does come up. And, since then, I would say I've probably booked 10 trips to Greece, and I'm booking one right now for a group of 6 ladies going. And so they do come in, and it is beneficial to go because the experience that you have from going to these places, it's unlike anything. Like you can't replace that. You can't find that online. I make sure that all of my agents go to the places that we book like a lot of travel at. We book a lot in New York, of course, we book a lot in LA, book a lot in Texas. There, it's where country music is going to go all over. But I want to make sure that my agents get up there and they experience, New York. I need them to know that if you're going to stay at in the Central Park area versus Soho, it might look like it's a short distance on the map, but when you're there, it's the long distance and they're very different boroughs. So I want everyone to have that experience. And so I try to make sure that my agents go out and have that. I want you to go and have fun too, but we can also go and have these experiences and bring the information home so that we can all benefit from it. And that's the other thing too. When we have agents go, I have them give us a little synopsis of how was that experience so we can all reap the benefits from that.
That's awesome. And this kind of leads into this next question of what are some things that you guys do that your clients don't see? They require a significant level of expertise or behind the scenes work.
Oh goodness, that's a tough one. I think just building those relationships with the vendors and finding people that you know you can trust and finding out more detailed information about each destination, each hotel. The clients just expect that we're going to put them in a property that meets their requirements. And so if we don't know about that property, we have got to do background research before we can feel comfortable putting them there. So I think that we do a lot of background work that they don't realize that we're doing. They think we're just going through a list going, okay, here, we'll put you here, here, and here. And that's not what we do. We have to really, really do a lot more individually with each of the properties that we use.
Yes, agreed. I think that they don't understand the time that we invest in this and the energy that we put forth to make sure that the places that they are staying are going to fit their needs. Because at least in the touring industry, there are some specific needs. Like we've got to make sure that on a day off that the clients are going to be able to park their buses. If a hotel's like, yeah, we've got a parking ramp. Well, I mean, I can't fit a bus in there, can I? Like, what are the dimensions of that? And then they'll say, we've got an open parking lot. And I'll say, well, will you cone it off and make sure we can park our buses? And they're like, no, it's first come, first serve. Well, that doesn't work. If I've got 8 buses rolling in, I need to have them have a spot to park. So those are just some of the things that come up and you wouldn't necessarily think about them. Or on a day off, I need to make sure that when the buses park, that all the people are going to be able to get off of the buses and walk to their entertainment, walk to restaurants, walk to a park, walk to something to do. Because once the bus is parked, they don't have any wheels. They're not like any place that they're getting, they have to walk. So it doesn't serve them to have a hotel booked at a location where everything is miles away because all these guys and gals have no way to get to the thing. So we put a lot of time into making the experience be the best it can be for them while they're traveling, because this is their job. We go to concerts and it's for fun. They go to concerts and it's their job. So I want to make sure that it's as comfortable as it can be from what I can do.
I love that. And so for the next question, can you tell me a travel experience or a client success story that has stayed with you from all these things that you've done and put together?
I think we could write a book, Pam.
I think we could. I think we could. Elizabeth, I was letting you know, I was telling you my story of the client who for a year had been planning a trip to do the Palio in Italy, then go to Run with the Bulls in Pamplona, and then go to Bastille Day in Paris. And I had asked him repeatedly if his passport was up to date. And he said, oh, yes, I just went into Canada and did a show in Canada and it was fine. Well, the day before the trip was to depart, he came to my office and he said, you're not going to believe this. He said, but my passport is expired. So I had to figure out how to get this gentleman a passport in 24 hours to get him with his family to do this trip they've been planning for a year. And it was through logistics and through connections and through research that I was able to make it happen, and he got to go. And he's never forgotten that. Because he tells me now if I retire, he's going to retire.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Gosh, there truly are so many stories. I would say the one that is probably the one that will stick with me forever is when we were going into 2020 and it was March and all of country music was in Europe for the C2C concert. And we were all watching the TV and we saw that potentially the border might get closed, and all of our people were over there. And we were sitting in our office and all my agents were watching, and we just stopped because we knew that we needed to get everybody home because nobody knew what was going to happen then. And the phone just started ringing nonstop. And this is at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we stayed through the whole night. We had spouses and families of clients come to the door with food and coffees and cookies. And throughout the whole night, we stayed and just worked all of the phone calls that came in, and we were booking travel for people that weren't our clients. I had a client take a phone and hand it to multiple people, and I didn't know who they were. I just knew they were our people, our Nashvilleians, our country music people, and we needed to get them home. And we booked everybody on every single flight through every single country with however many stops it took to get everybody home. And the next day, it was 10 o'clock in the morning. We literally worked through the whole night, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I got the last call, and it was a manager that I know really well, and he had said, "Shannon, I think everybody's out of here. Everybody's out of the arena. Everybody's going to the airport." And that was a really big feeling of accomplishment for me, because we were in this state where nobody knew what was going to happen and nobody knew where to turn, but they knew that they could count on us, that we were going to help them, even though they weren't maybe specifically our clients, or maybe they didn't have any travel agent at all. They maybe just booked online and thought it was going to be fine, because a lot of people do that until they have a problem. And yeah, we got everybody home, and I'm glad 2020 is behind us. Let's never do that again.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree. Similar situation happened in 9/11 when they grounded the planes and people were
Yep.
flying in the air all over the US and frantically calling saying, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I've got to get home. So travel advisors, it's not all glamorous. We work hard. We have to jump at any incident that happens. We have to make sure that our people are taken care of and get to where they need to be. And it is a commitment that any good travel advisor has to make, that they're going to do whatever it takes to take care of their clients. That means staying up all night. That means not eating lunch. Whatever it is, you're going to take care of them, and they know they can count on you. And that's what makes us successful.
I love that.
Yes, absolutely.
So that kind of is a great segue. Let's go ahead and go there. What a career growth and opportunity looks like for students who are interested in going into this field. So let's start with just asking what kinds of career paths exist in the travel agency side of the industry, and is there an opportunity to specialize, and what does that look like?
I think there
I
is.
think there are so many opportunities. Like, I don't even think that I don't even think that I know what all of the opportunities are. When I bring new agents on, we start with our booking general reservations, and then I just ask them to watch what they're doing, and feel where they're drawn to. Some people really like to book these giant groups of people at hotels, and they've got spreadsheets and all the things. Some people love to book hotels like that. Some people really like to book the big groups of the flights. Some people like to book leisure travel. I think the people that like to book leisure travel are just very blessed and tiny little angels out there, because that is a very specialized thing, Miss Pam. We love you for doing that. And you can work in corporate travel. Maybe you do like to, work a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and be in a call center. I worked in a call center. I loved it. I loved to pick up the phone, and it was fast paced, but I didn't have the connection with them that I have with my clients. So I like the fast pace. I like the connection, and it's not bad to be able to go to any concert that you want to and be treated like, royalty, because they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for getting us here or fixing that," or, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to finally meet you." They appreciate what we do for them. And there are a lot of, bonuses and perks that can come with this job with regard to that. I think that you can obviously work in the hotel arena, or, car rentals, or the airlines. there are just, you can work for a big travel agency and just work on their clients. You can work for a boutique travel agency and work with the clients that they have there that are like, I don't take all of the people that come in and want to work with me. I won't. I don't think that every travel agency should take everything that walks in the door, because I think you're doing them a disservice, because you are not the right travel agent for everyone out there. There is a right travel agent for everyone out there, but you are not going to be the only one out there. And I know when somebody comes in and we meet, I can usually tell pretty quickly if we're gonna mesh, if our personalities are gonna be right. It needs to be a win-win situation, because I don't want to get a call from a client and look at the phone and be like, "Ugh, it's them again." Who wants that? You want to get the call and be like, "Oh, I can't wait to talk to so and so." And I think that if you can just find the thing that, like I said, lights your fire, but go out there and try different things and maybe work in a leisure agency or a corporate agency or a big box agency. See if you can maybe get an internship uh, and just see all of the things that they do. Something is going to grab onto you and you're going to be like, I want to do more of that, or that's really interesting to me, or I wonder if we could do this in a different way. I wonder if it would be more efficient or more effective. There will be something that grabs onto you and you'll be able to run with that. But I think that opportunities are huge here right now, because people don't even know that this is a viable career path. I think a lot of people think that you can just do all of this online. And you know what? You can probably book your family's travel or your travel, your spring break travel. You can probably do that. But can you book a band of 40 people up to Saskatchewan and make sure that they get there? And because if they don't, then they're in breach of contract. And we're talking about $1 million, millions of dollars at stake. So it's a very different feeling when you're doing this kind of travel. And I love it, but it's certainly not for everyone. But I think by having the experience of working in an agency, you can see maybe which path you want to go down or which one is more attractive to you.
I agree. To me, there are different phases of a travel agency. You've got the corporate travel, which Shannon and I have alluded to a couple of times. It's very, it's for your people that need to go for work on a Monday, come home on a Friday, hotel, car. It's very cut and dried and very scheduled. And then you've got the entertainment side, which takes a unique personality to be successful in that, but it's very rewarding and exciting to do that. And then the side that I really have been enjoying a lot lately is the leisure side. And that is where you plan lifetime trips and memories for people and families. And that is extremely rewarding. I've had several agents who have worked for me, learned the industry, and then went on into the hotel side of sales and marketing for hotel chains and different hotel properties, which is a good way to leapfrog into that. But what's important to know about the travel agency side of the travel and hospitality is that we are paid on a commission basis. The vendors and the hotels, the vendors, the car services, all those people pay us a commission for our time. We are their marketing. We are their social media. We are everything that other companies do to get the word out and to get their products sold. We are that conduit for them. So the more that we sell, the more commission we make, the more income the advisor gets. Some agencies pay on a salary basis. You have a certain salary. Some are hourly employees, and some are commission-based, or a combination of some or all of them. So this is not a self-limited or income-limited industry. It can be as lucrative as you want it to be based on how hard you are willing to work and how you want to create your clientele and go after your book of business. For example, if you are a golfer and you want to promote golf trips, you need to go to the pro golfer at a country club and have him be your Pied Piper and sell your product and get other people involved in the trip that you will create. And then from that, you will create your book of business. And then you go to a different golf pro person. So you have to really research and learn the side of the industry that you want to cultivate for yourself to be able to get the type of an income that you need to support your family or to support yourself or to complement what your spouse is making possibly. I think it's limitless. I think you can do as much as you want to do, depending on how creative and how hard you are willing to work.
I love
Absolutely, 100%. I just want to interject here about that because I love that you said that, Pam. It is, you get out of this what you put in. I have got a gal that has been working for me. This is her third year, and she's, I mean, maybe 25 years old, and she had no experience at all, and she'll be making six figures at the end of this year. You can do anything. You've got to put in the effort. If you can put the effort in, the money is there. And it's rewarding to be able to go into something and excel at it.
And I love that because it really is, like you're both saying, a kind of a mixture of doing sales, but also that logistics side. So if you went into a sales position, professional selling within a hotel, you don't ever have to deliver the product. But as a travel agent, you really are the product. And so you're selling yourself as the product that you're delivering, even though you're not doing the final experience, but you're the reason that they're getting from point A to point B and experience all these things they're doing, which is really, really cool. So I guess from that perspective, what do you think are the kinds of students or personalities that tend to thrive in this side of the industry?
For me, I think it's someone who has to have a logistical mind, that you are organized and that you can anticipate needs before they ever happen. And then when they do happen, move quickly to resolve any situation. If you don't have, and multitasking, you have to be able to multitask. I am telling you, I will have so many screens up on my computer. I was mentioning that I work off of 5 screens right now because I may be doing this client and then another one calls because I have to take care of something immediately for them. You just, that's the personality that will excel in this industry.
Absolutely. And if you can throw in some common sense, I'll take that too.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
May we all have common sense. So what advice would you give to students who may be interested in becoming travel advisors?
I would say, why don't, I would love to have students perhaps contact me and say, hey, I'm interested in this. Could I come and spend a day at your office? Could I come and shadow you? Could I come have a conversation? I'm more interested in just learning something about it. If your interest is piqued, find an agency that will open their doors to you and have you come in and invite you in and just see what a day in the life is. I think do your research, certainly do your research because as in anything, you're going to have quite a wide variety of travel agencies and just make sure that you are getting in with an agency that is like-minded in the direction you want to go. I tell all of my agents that start here, I tell everybody, just don't lie, steal, or cheat in Nashville, and you can work for the rest of your life because Nashville's loyal, country music is loyal. But if you lie, steal, and cheat, you should move because they don't have time for that. And so even when you've made a mistake, you need to own it, you need to resolve it, you need to probably not do it again if you can avoid that. But there is forgiveness and there is grace. And I think that's something that's very special and unique about the genre that we're in. Own it, pay for it, and learn from it. And don't try to throw somebody under the bus. That never works. I tell everybody I've been thrown under the bus so many times I could be a bus mechanic. But it is something that is my foundation. I need to know that I can get up in the morning and look myself in the mirror and know that I've given my best and I haven't done anything dishonest. I haven't done anything that I'm going to have to be like, oh, I hope that doesn't come back and bite me. I've got to make sure that I'm a good example for my agents, for my kids, for my people, for my clients. I want them to know that they can trust me and find a place to work that is like-minded in whatever your personal, morals or directive is.
I think that's also very, very true, Shannon. I wish someone had helped me when I first decided to go into travel. I did it myself. I just knew I needed to make a change and I needed to figure out how to do it. And I created some processes and some things that worked for me that people laugh at me now because of all the paper that I still use and write things down on paper. I'm still one of those people. Um, but so many times you don't get a mentor in this industry. You don't get someone that will really help you cultivate what it is that you want to do. So if you can find a mentor, that would be a great way to start. Someone that can explain to you what is important and how you begin to make your first steps and educate yourself on it. We have reservation systems. We didn't touch on that, but we do have they're different ones, but that's where we learn to issue our airline tickets. We learn to sell hotels. You can sell cars. You can do lots of things within this reservation system. And that's something that to be an efficient travel agent, in my opinion, you must learn that. So there are places that will help you learn to those fundamentals of the trade. And then a lot of the rest of the knowledge that you will need to have is by whoever you've associated yourself with. Like, for example, if you go to work with Shannon, Shannon's going to teach you how to do the day-to-day things that it takes, and then you build on that foundation from there. But that's what you have to do. You have to learn the fundamentals first, and then find a mentor and someone who will help train you on the day-to-day workings of being a travel advisor.
That's awesome. It's such great advice because one of the things that is difficult in teaching tourism and hospitality is there's so many avenues you can go down. So you're not necessarily going to have a course in your education that this is how to use Pegasus, right? We're not going to sit down and go through that system, but the best people to go to for that are people like Pam and Shannon, who are the experts, who do this for a living and can walk you through that path. And so what we're hoping to do is expose students, each of you who is watching this, to the opportunities that exist so you're aware and so you can start making that path. So if you could go back to your younger self and give yourself one piece of career advice, what would it be?
Oh goodness, and I have so much advice I would give myself. I don't know how to pinpoint it to any one thing, but I think the most important thing to me is my name, my integrity, and that people can count on me no matter what. That is that's a foundation from which you can build any business and anything you want to do. And your clients will stay with you for a long time if you have those things in place before you ever start any kind of business. You have to have integrity. You have to have just the commitment to whatever the product is that you want to sell or service that you want to provide. And I think you can go far for that with that.
Yeah, we could frame that and put that on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And this goes way back, but when I was in contemplating going off to college and what was I going to study, there were only three things that women at that time were told they could be. They could be a teacher, they could be a secretary, or they could be oh gosh, I can't remember the third one. It's like so far gone, but
Was it a
a
nurse?
nurse. That's it. And I did that. I did that for a while. So that was it. That was all that we were told we could be. And I think that probably slowed me down from being where I am today. I might have done that sooner had I not been so limited in what I was told I was capable of doing, because we're capable of doing whatever it is that we set our minds to. We may stumble, we may fall, we may fail, but it's all about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and trying again.
And that
Shannon?
would be actually the thing that I would tell my younger self would be that you are going to continue to fall and stumble for your whole life, but you've got to continue to get up because there's no other choice. You've got to get up, and that situation is going to somehow give you growth. That situation is going to somehow come back and reward you because I certainly believe that everything happens for a reason. I remember losing three of my top clients all at once, and it was devastating, and I didn't know where it came from. Um, but it was only just after they left that I got the call to book the travel for George Strait. And I would not have had the availability to book the George Strait tour if I still had those other three. And so I certainly wish all of them well, but it's pretty exciting to have George Strait on your roster, in country music at least.
That's fantastic. And I think it's just good life advice, all of that, to have integrity, personal brand who you are, but also be willing to accept the failures or the mistakes and pick yourself back up and keep moving. And if you pair those together and if you always do it with integrity, there will always be a spot for you. There will always be a place for you to move forward, whether that's working in travel agencies or any other area of your life, family, friends, socially, anything. So I think that's really great advice. And everything has been so, so helpful. In fact, I'm sure we could go on for hours, but I kind of wanted to end it with what is something key that maybe we didn't talk about today that I think that you think is super crucial that we talk about right in this moment before we end?
I will. Earlier, you and I were discussing this wonderful world of AI and how it's going to change everything that we do. But I think if everyone will understand that AI will never replace travel advisors. AI can give you a beautiful itinerary. In fact, we were talking about this. A client sent me one this last week, and I can only imagine that's what it is. It's what it looked like it would be to me. The interesting thing about AI is they cannot check the feasibility of the itinerary they're sending you, whether or not you can get from point A to point B within a timely manner, that hotels have availability that they're suggesting, that the tours that you want to take to see the war rooms, Churchill's war rooms in London, is sold out for the summer, but it doesn't tell you that. It can't check availability. So beware of people who tell you, oh, AI is going to take over your industry. It will not. It cannot, because it cannot do what we do.
Absolutely. We've had people come and ask us that too, to say, how long are you going to keep your doors open now that AI is out there and doing all of this? And I said, we're always going to be open because you always need a human touch. I don't care what your industry is, you need the human touch. And that isn't something that's going to go away. We have a care factor that AI simply doesn't have. It can be helpful, I'm sure, in a plethora of areas, but it's not going to take over what we do, certainly.
And that is, we had a really great conversation about this. This is so true. And it's true in education too. So, all my students who are watching this, please beware of using AI too much because we're teaching your brain. And this high touch, this has always been true. When robotics started coming on the scene, when people started using online check-in for when you get to a hotel and you can bypass the front desk. All that does is it allows your travel advisors or your hotel employees or wherever you are to focus more on high touch and less on the mundane skills. So AI is going to help assist with these jobs, and you're going to be able to do more with less, but it doesn't replace. And that's the key, is that we're not replacing people. We're just using another tool, just like Pegasus and all these other online platforms for booking. This could maybe improve those. If you want to work in revenue management, it can help you come up with strategies for revenue management, but it doesn't replace the person who's making the strategy. So I think that's really great advice. Thank you so much both for your time. This has been amazing, and maybe we'll do a part two sometime where we do a deep dive into some of the more skill set, and we'll see what some of the reception is, and hopefully we can start having people reach out, and also maybe having some of your teams be part of our mentorship program. So, any final thoughts before we end?
No, good luck. Good luck. And don't shy away from coming into this industry because it is very rewarding.
Give it all of your best and find the thing that lights your fire, and you'll never work a day in your life. It's amazing when you find that thing.
I love that. Well, let's end on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you.